great players, they have a great organization, and you tell them one thing, baby.
What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raiders related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit that bell notification, that way you know every time I post a video just like this one. With that being said, let's jump right into the topic of this video. Today's video, I just wanted to make a video about the Raiders star running back Josh Jacobs. As it was much expected, Josh Jacobs got hit with the franchise tag earlier in this offseason, and the Raiders have still not been able to secure him to a long-term deal. And according to NFL insider Ian RAPOPORT, Josh Jacobs is one of the players who have yet to sign this tag, which essentially means that until Josh Jacobs either signs his contract on the franchise tag or the Raiders end up finalizing a long-term contract for Josh Jacobs, Jacobs will not be able to participate in any of the upcoming off-season activities for the Las Vegas Raiders. This includes OTAs, training camp, even preseason if it gets to that point. So could this whole Josh Jacobs situation lead to a contract holdout between the star running back and the organization? Now, it most definitely could, and honestly, if it did, who knows how long this whole situation could drag along for. It really just depends on which party decides to concede first and which of the two sides has more leverage. Not only that too, if the holdout does continue, then the possibility of the Raiders potentially trading away Josh Jacobs could be a legitimate possibility, especially with the draft coming up. Maybe the Raiders get an intriguing trade offer for Josh Jacobs come draft night, or if this scenario drags along into training camp, into preseason, etc., maybe they trade him right before the season starts. We all remember what eventually ended up happening to our star defensive end Khalil Mack years ago, when the contract negotiations just dragged along for months until he was eventually traded right before the start of the season. And overall, it's been a very quiet on the Josh Jacobs front in terms of the two parties getting close to signing a deal. And Josh Jacobs, look, he's not going to want to play on the franchise tag, especially with what appears to be a potential rebuilding stage year for the Raiders next season. Jacobs months ago stated the fact that he would potentially be open to playing on the franchise tag, but only if the Raiders surrounded him around a roster that he felt could seriously compete for a deep playoff run. He wants to win, but so far the Raiders have not done that. And as Jacobs stated, if they want me to play like the hero, then they're gonna have to pay me like one. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is a tough situation for both sides, because from the Raiders standpoint, I'm sure they would love to have Josh Jacobs around, but when you look at the history throughout the National Football League of teams paying running backs to a long-term contract, usually the teams that end up doing that, they usually end up regretting it down the line. We all know Dave Ziegler is a general manager who not only wants to make moves to help the team win right now, but he's also a guy that's going to be looking down the line towards the future as well. Also, it's a little concerning too that Josh Jacobs ended up having his best season in a contract year. Jacobs was very dominant last season, and look, if he can continue to have production like he did last year, then he would definitely be well worth the money to pay him. But it's really just gonna come down to, are you confident that Josh Jacobs can continue to produce at a high level down the line? Let's not forget that Josh Jacobs early in his career struggled with some injuries here and there, so I'm not 100% sold that he can just continue this trend year in and year out. But another factor to keep in mind is that not only is Jacobs one of the most talented players on the roster for the Raiders, but he is also a team captain, and he provides a certain role to that locker room within this organization. The Raiders, and most definitely head coach Josh McDaniels, cannot afford to make moves that could potentially question his integrity and have him potentially lose the locker room. You got to think about it. If the Raiders are able to absolutely be cutthroat and move on from their team captain who came off of a career season, then other guys in that locker room might just lose trust in the Raiders coaching and the front office. So look, there's definitely both sides to this argument, but ideally I hope the Raiders and Josh Jacobs can eventually find a sweet spot that allows him to get a fair amount of guaranteed money up front while also not making him the highest paid running back in the game, because I most definitely do not want to be a team that resets the market at the running back position. But as I mentioned, when it comes to Josh Jacobs, it's been very quiet between him and the front office of the Raiders getting close to a deal. So really, I have a funny feeling that maybe, just maybe, Josh Jacobs could potentially get traded, or this holdout will continue throughout this offseason. It'll be something that we'll continue to talk about, and it could potentially drag on. And also, the last factor to consider is if the Raiders ended up trading away Josh Jacobs, then at that point, this won't just smell like a rebuild. It will just absolutely reek of one. And at that point, maybe that will make our star wide receiver Devontae Adams very unhappy, and maybe he could request a trade, which that would be a terrible situation. The Raiders cannot afford this, in my opinion. But a lot of factors and variables to consider with this whole Josh Jacobs contract situation. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below though. Do you guys think the Raiders will lock down Josh Jacobs to a long-term deal, or do you think his future is at risk in the silver and black? Let me know in the comment section down below. But that being said, Raider Nation, that's all I have for you guys in today's video. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raiders related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.